Hello, everyone. I'm Rhino Clavin, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the best reasons to travel solo. And to join me for this discussion, we've got Miss Jackie Gailey.
Hi, guys.
And Miss Steve Porter.
Hello.
And Mr. Craig Williams.
I couldn't tell. Is his name Misty Porter?
Misty Porter.
Misty Stephen Elizabeth Porter. Yes. Lots of names there, but let's just dive right in here. We had a little discussion. Someone sent into the podcast and asked us to do an episode about traveling solo. So we thought it would make a good best and worst kind of episode, and here we are doing the best. So I'd like to just dive right in with the first one, and I think one of the best things to being a solo traveler is your itinerary planning. I feel like it's a lot easier to make decisions without incorporating other people into them. Would you guys agree?
100%. Yeah, I
definitely.
think the more people you have, the more opinions are out there, the more people you're disappointing. And
I like how you went right to disappointing.
Well, I mean, if you're in a group of 8 and half the group wants to do something and half the group doesn't, 50% of the group is going to be sad. So
Yeah.
Math.
I have to agree with that too, because other people are never happy with what you pick. Mm-hmm. Like your favorites are never their favorites.
Well, and my thing is like, so when we go, like I know this is Disney World, but when I travel and where I travel frequently is for work to Disneyland, and it comes down to how many times do you want to ride a ride? Because I like to do Guardians of the Galaxy quite a bit, where I'm sure there's people that love doing Tower of Terror or various other attractions here repeatedly. But you get to those attractions that a lot of people are like, no, once was enough. But then for you kind of don't quench your thirst of the attraction until you do it multiple times.
It releases you of compromise. And that's a good point. That's obviously an important part of being a human, is making sacrifices for other people that you love at points, and sometimes not even people you love, just because you got stuck with them anyways. But yeah, when you are traveling solo, there's nothing more freeing than saying like, oh, I can just go do this right now if I want to. I can go do that. I can go and rope drop in the morning. I'm not waiting for this person to get their shoes on and do their makeup and all that. I'm not, and I'm talking about Rhino, actually, not even my wife, and that she's very punctual.
Takes me a long time to do my hair in the morning.
Usually when we have to stay in a room together, I'm like, okay, I'm going for Park Open, and Rhino will come strolling in about an hour and a half, 2 hours later.
Oh my gosh.
That's Park Open.
Yeah, sure. It frees you from all of that. So it's really, really nice to be able to say,
it's your trip.
Yes, I can do what I want to do.
Yeah. So actually, and on that note, moving on to the next thing we had is actually you can move at your own pace too. So you're not waiting on anybody. It is your trip. And one thing I like to do, and I like to do it when I'm with other people too, is go to places, enjoy like a unique drink or a unique food item. And when I go with Eli, when Eli's done, he gets up and walks away. And I'm like, what? I like to sit down. I like to let my food digest or enjoy the view or something like that. I just kind of like to collect my thoughts and pace myself. So you can kind of move at your own pace. Like I said, your own schedule.
Yeah, when you're with more people, there's a certain number of the group that want to go, we get off this attraction, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's take a quick break for lunch, and then let's get right back on rides.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that want to do a ride, maybe a show, maybe just sit on a bench for a bit. It just all depends on what your speed is. And if you mix a group of people that all have different levels of how fast and what the pace should be, it just kind of can get crazy. But
that's so funny. I'm thinking about this time because Rhino, you guys sound like Jerry and I, because when Jerry's done eating and we're in a restaurant, he's like ready to get up and go. Like, let's go. Doesn't matter if I'm still eating or whatever. It's time to go. He's done. But it reminded me, because my mom is like an action figure. She is just like, go, 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 go. And I like to chill out on a bench sometimes and just look at people or whatever, get a drink.
I like both too,
there. I do too. Yeah. And my mom is like, we don't have time for this sitting around drama. Let's go. I don't want to just sit around. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Well, it also gives you, let's say you're going solo and you've gone to Disney World a lot, with family, friends and stuff like that. And this is your first solo trip. It'll give you those moments like that where you can just sit and enjoy, because maybe you're feeling like you're missing out on less because now you're getting to, stop and smell the roses or go 10 times harder because you don't have other people that are.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I think back to when I went to Disneyland Paris in June. I could not have done that probably, at least. I love all my coworkers. I love my wife. I don't think I know anyone, maybe my dad is the only person who would go at the pace that I went to. Like, the fact that is the final day that I was there, I think I only ate one meal, and it wasn't even like conscious of it happening. It's just I didn't have time if I wanted to do everything that I wanted to do. And so I was going at this just breakneck pace the entire time. And that was awesome that I was able to do it, but I don't think a lot of people would be able to do that. And we are very familiar at the Diz of what happens when you get too many people in one group all at the same time. It used to be the thing I despised personally the most about going and covering like the Halloween and Christmas party, because we would say herding cattle, herding sheep, however you want to say it. You have 8 people who all need to accomplish different things, but for some reason you're all forcing yourselves to stay in the pack together, and it just makes your life miserable. It's just going at your pace is so nice.
And continue on what Jackie and Craig both alluded to, and myself as well, is that the next thing we have here is the flexibility in dining. So going on your own space, it's not just about you can eat what you want to eat when you want to eat. I feel like a child is having ice cream for breakfast, but you can do that when you're alone.
If you want to.
But one of the things is too, like Craig said, like sometimes you're going and going. If you're having one of those days where you're going nonstop, maybe you only are going to have one meal, and if you're with somebody else, I know, again, when I'm with Eli, like, it's always like, what's the next meal? I'm like, good. And my mom says it all the time. She's like, what is wrong with you? Sometimes we just have the one, like, but I get it. That's how he likes to experience things. And I'm the same way. Like, when I go to other Disney parks, or even ours, I like to snack. So sometimes I don't want to go and sit down and have a meal, but I'll be with a lot of people who do, are like, okay, yeah, well, we're going to need a full meal too. And I was like, what is a full meal? Like, I'm still talking about eating nonstop. So that's for me. Also, you don't have to be like, you want to try something weird or different or whatever. You don't have to be trying to find a place with chicken nuggets and mac and cheese for anybody, I don't know.
I do agree, though. I think it can be trickier because, not just the differences in dining, but also some people's vacation to Walt Disney World is like, that's their favorite part, is the dining, and other people want to go on as many rides as possible. So, for one person, having a table service meal every meal of the day is their ideal Disney vacation. And for another person, just snacking around and, having enough churros will fuel them throughout the day. So it really can be stressful when you put those two people together and you have to figure out what works for both of you.
Well, and you get to try the places that you want to go. Yeah. That maybe your friends and family don't. Like I love a lot of Mediterranean food, and I really, really enjoy both of the restaurants in Morocco, Marrakesh and Spice Road Table. But a lot, the menu does have some peanut-based items and shellfish-based items. Not that that's all it, but it would be very difficult for my wife to find something that she really enjoys in it at either place. There's a couple things, but it would never be her first choice. Well, even that, I tried to get her to try those at Food and Wine, and it's like, no, I'm not really interested in that. And so it's this food that I have to sacrifice eating at Walt Disney World with her. It's sad because it's stuff I enjoy. It's not what she doesn't. She doesn't want to eat there. So on those solo trips, you can just be like, yeah, I want to eat at those places. It doesn't matter if everyone else hates it. I'm going to go to be our guest by myself and eat there, even though no one else wants to. Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
I agree. Yeah. Well, and moving on from that too, another one of the things you can take advantage of when you're there by yourself and not feel like, oh, I got separated from my group, is the single rider lines that are available at certain attractions. I know Everest at Animal Kingdom has it. You've got
Test Track.
Yeah. So there's places like stuff like that. It's a lot easier to get in and out of attractions that maybe you don't have to waste a fast pass on now because you know that you can just single ride it. And also when it comes to that as well, it's a lot easier. We talked about itinerary planning, but making a fast pass for one sometimes is a little bit easier than making it for a group,
Or an advanced dining reservation, an ADR. You're trying to get, at a must-do restaurant that's hard to get a reservation. Finding a table for one is going to be a lot easier than finding a table for 8.
Well, you can dine at the bar too. Craig's
awesome.
spoken about that repeatedly too on different shows. Is that what he likes to do is go up and you still get the full experience, sometimes even a better experience if you go to the bar, because you'll be, depending on the restaurant or the location, you'll be right where the people are either making the food or right up having a conversation with the bartender. And I've had some pretty great experiences doing that as well.
That's a really fun way.
No, that's what I was going to say, is that is like my number one takeaway. Yeah, with how most restaurants work, if you can get a table for 2, that's the same table you're going to be at by yourself. So 1 or 2, you're right in that same level. But how many times have you been to a restaurant that has bar dining and you show up and it's like there's a single seat here, a single seat there, and you don't want to go through the irritating factor of having to be like, hey, can you move down so both of us can come in here? You never ever have to worry about that when you're by yourself, unless it's just super packed. And most restaurants, at least the ones that you want to eat at anyways, will serve the full menu right at the bar. And then you get the added conversation with bartenders. Unless things are crazy, most of the time they're going to be standing around bored anyways and wanting to just talk and hang out. So you get some of that interaction in that you're not typically getting because you're there by yourself. And it's all going back to one of the speediness factors. You eat by yourself, you're usually getting in and out a lot quicker.
I also find the food comes faster when you order it from the bar and you're like by yourself. Like I feel like you order it and then it's there 2 seconds later in a busy restaurant and stuff, so it's interesting. But moving on from that too, we've also got the value. So we're going to talk about this on the War Show too, but one of the things that I feel like increases, not value necessarily, but cost is what I should have said. The cost is it's a lot lower when you're only buying one park ticket, or you're only
one
meals for one plane ticket, things like that. Kind of keep that down to, you still got to bring back souvenirs, I'm sure, but it kind of keeps it. You can kind of control your budget a lot more restrictively when you're just one person.
Yeah, it's solo trips are kind of a gateway to do other solo trips to other locations. So especially if it comes in where like I know a couple people, I'm sure all of you know too, friends that we've made where one of them really loves Disney and then usually their significant other is just like, I'm okay on it. I don't need it. You know what? It's if they don't want to go, don't force them. Don't make them take that time off work, sacrifice getting their pay, all of that. Save up on the side for that trip that you two want to do together to a location that you both agree on. But when it comes to Disney, if no one really is as passionate about it as you are, they're not going to learn that same passion. Go by yourself. Save that money.
Well, also,
it's better.
Don't make somebody feel guilty about that either. You know what on the flip side of that, if you're the person who doesn't really love it, don't ever make somebody feel guilty about going on a solo trip or anything like that. If you don't want to go, I get it. You do want to go on a trip and you want to do stuff together, but there are things in life that somebody's going to want to do that you're not interested. Just don't hold somebody back from that. Be like, hey, go ahead. Also, don't spend your life savings doing that. But anyway, moving on to the last thing we're going to talk about really quick is I wanted everyone to maybe just say like a specific thing that they might like doing when they're by themselves at the park, because I feel like the person who messaged us might want like a specific activity. For me, something I like to do when I'm by myself and it doesn't stress me out as much. I'm getting a little distracted because there is somebody trying to get into the house right now. So it gets a little weird. But for me, when I'm by myself, I'm a little more comfortable taking my time taking photos and videos. And when I'm like in a group, if it's not somebody like Craig or somebody who completely understands that it does take you a couple extra seconds, it might take you a few more minutes and it causes you to move a little bit slower. I get a little like like stressed or anxious because I'm like,
You
I
feel
get
like
it.
you're weighing them down, but you're really
Exactly.
not, because it's just something that you enjoy or want to do.
And I want to be like, oh, you'll love this in the end, oh,
Right.
you'll like this, trust me, it'll look good. Or even when I'm trying to make videos of us, me, and friends and family, they don't always understand that, And so it's just on me though. I like to be very emotionally aware of everybody around me and stuff. So that's one of those things that I get it. We're all here, we're all together. Actually, that's the downside that will be on my traveling with people, I guess, is sometimes you feel emotionally responsible for those people being the leader in a Disney group, and when you're by yourself you're kind of freed of that emotional responsibility. And so, but what about you, Steve? Do you have something that you like to do when you go by yourself?
Yeah, I'll go and say in particular, the Hall of Presidents is not everyone's favorite attraction, and especially with, I won't get into it, but the political climate, not everyone's excited to go on the Hall of Presidents, but being a political science major and loving politics, I enjoy the show, and I get the American goosebumps when the video is on. So
The R.L. Stein goosebumps, as it were. No,
yeah.
Well, I thought those were the American goosebumps.
But yeah, so I love the Hall of Presidents. Not everyone else does, so it's my opportunity to go in there, find a good spot. I like to sit in the back when I'm by myself and enjoy it.
What about you, Craig? You got something you like to do when you go by yourself specifically?
Yeah, this one stems from something that my dad did way back when he had to do a business trip down to Florida without all of us, and that was the time that he stopped to appreciate a lot of the World Showcase offerings, specifically the Circle Vision films, and also France's film too. I mean, I've talked a lot about that. Everyone knows I love Impressions de France,
It's so great.
But specifically with Reflections of China and Oh Canada, if you go in there, there's never usually a lot of people in there. So I'm doing the numbers. Chances are, if you're coming down, you're not going in that building unless you drink too much while doing Drink Around the World and just stumble on in there for fun. So I'm saying maybe take a chance to do the stuff that you wouldn't necessarily do as a family, but specifically those are two that I can think of that I don't think people do very often. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's a must-see every single time. I have to get my Martin Short fix. I think as Disney fans, we're both there. But as the average park goer who's maybe coming down on once every 2 or 3 years, you're probably not doing that.
I was going to try and do a Jimmy Glick impersonation, but it's not going to.
Can I just add something to that? It just kind of dawned on me. It also is a good opportunity, if you've never tried and no one in your family has tried those things, to give them a chance by yourself, so that if it maybe ends up not being your favorite thing, you're not disappointing your whole family. Yeah. You're kind of just like, well, that's probably not my favorite, but at least I don't have 5 other people that are also looking at me, the Disney person or whatever, saying, why did we come in here?
Yeah. They blame you. It's that emotional responsibility again. Yeah. What about you, Jackie? You got something that you like to do? I know. Yeah. You're a little. No, you thrive on the group environment.
I come off that way sometimes, but I'll tell you, I'm discovering the older I get, the more kind of introverted I am. I don't know why. I don't know if I've changed or what, but my favorite thing is just to meander slowly and look at details. So I saw Toy Story Land for the first time last weekend, and I really liked slowly walking through there and looking at all the things, and all the families are running around crazy, and they can't wait to get to this ride, that ride, whatever, this character, that character. I just like to walk slowly and look at details.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Not something you would normally do in a group, because it's hard to keep that attention span going.
Because they want to go, what's next? What's next? Yeah. What's next? Everybody's like, go, 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 go. And let's listen, okay? I'm not a go, 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 go Miss Sprinter over here. So I work with what I have. So I make the best of it. And I love to notice the details that people don't notice, because they're so busy racing from here to there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. No, well, that'll do it. There we had itinerary planning, move at your own pace, flexibility in dining, single rider line, and then the cost, keeping the cost down there, amongst other things that we spoke about here. What other things have you guys out there? Or I'm not supposed to say guys, that's a microaggression. How you people out there? What else what have you done? Have you taken a solo trip? Do you have things that you'd recommend that perhaps we could share later on down the road with other people? Let us know in all those usual places. You can send us an email at podcast@disunplug.com. You can get to us on Twitter. I feel like is a pretty good place at the Diz. And yeah. Well, that'll do it. Thank you, everybody, for having this discussion with me. And that'll do it for this episode of the Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. We'll see you next time with another episode.